Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy Ortiz, Marketing Manager at IQB Construction and Roofing, and welcome back to the New Normal Live Expo. Today, we have a special guest, Kris Carmichael from Fritz Insurance, whom will be helping us better understand the biggest question of what are the next steps after someone tests positive for COVID, and how would this play part in our workers' comp claims? But before we get started, let's go over some housekeeping rules. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put it in the comment box, and we'll get to the questions at the end of the presentation. Also, you can text the number in the bottom of the screen, and with any questions or comments that you would like. And before we get started, time to present our presenters. Daniel, if you want to present yourself.
Sure. My name is Daniel Lima. I'm the owner of Endure Painting, and we basically are specialized in HOA multifamily unit properties. We do interior, exterior painting, and we also do high-end residential and commercial painting.
Mark?
Hi, my name is Mark Owens. I'm the president of Reliant Construction Management. We are a full-service construction management firm servicing the entire Bay Area. Our primary clients are HOAs, so we do apartment buildings and single-family homes, and we do everything from scope development to implementation of scopes, working with owners / HOA boards and property managers to define work, get proposals, and then manage the project from the beginning to the end, whether it's a construction defect, repair project, to a building envelope, to a capital improvement. And we've been around since 2009.
Aneta?
Great. Hi, everybody. Aneta here from Bankel Property Management. I'm one of the community managers, and we are a property management company based in San Francisco.
Brian?
Hello, Brian Garcia. I'm an account executive with Restoration Management Company. We are a full-service disaster recovery company with branches throughout California, Washington, Colorado, and Texas. We're here to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And lastly, Kris?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for welcoming and inviting me to this meeting. My name is Kris Carmichael. I'm a principal broker and owner and safety trainer with 30 years experience, here to talk to you about how COVID-19 affects not only your business, but as well as how it will affect you from an insurance perspective.
Okay, Kris, let's jump right into our discussion. I know we can extend to this topic since there's a lot of information that we can share, but let's try to answer these questions as briefly as possible.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, how will workers' comp view claims of COVID-19?
Okay, so when it comes to COVID-19, the insurance commissioner, as well as the WCIRB, the Workers' Compensation Rating Insurance Bureau, came up and put into action, signed into law, effective 7/1. All COVID-19s will not affect your experience modification if you're a company large enough to have that, and it will not count against you from an underwriting or marketing standpoint. They will all be coded a code 0012. So there's a special code, and it's crucial that you track those and keep track of on a separate spreadsheet those who fall under that code, so that when it comes time for audits, etc., that you have all that information easily at your fingertips. So they will not affect you financially in terms of your insurance, your XMOD, being counted against you. No underwriter is going to look at you and go, oh my gosh, they had 5 COVID exposures. That's not going to happen. We all know that this is something that we have as much control as possible over, but not complete control.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Fine. So it's not going to count on your as a point, I guess. That would be.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like a ticket on your record. Let's think of it like that.
Yeah. Financially, would it change anything in, like, because I can't see how insurance will just say, oh, we'll pay for it I don't know, like it sounds like sometimes too good to be true, right? Like that they will say, "Don't worry, we'll take the tab on that."
I did send some links that I know, Daniel, you were going to post, and I'm going to hold up a little document and we'll get it in the right position here. WCARB wire that talks about everything. It will not financially impact you. Nobody's going to raise your rates based on the fact that you had COVID claims. Does that answer your question, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah.
I will let you know it is affecting the industry. We're taking it day by day, just as we all are, as to what's incurred but not reported yet. So, in that respect, that's something that they're looking and preparing for, but you will not be penalized for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Doesn't that sound like a fair? Anetta, did you have a question?
Oh, I was gonna ask. So, like, so in order to be eligible for like workers' compensation benefits, like, would the claimant have to prove that they caught the disease on a job?
So, essential businesses and essential workers are presumed that it would be a workers' comp claim. And what's really, truly most important at the heart of this decision was to make sure that everyone got the appropriate medical care they needed without having to go, well, where did I get it from? Because we know we can get it from a number of places. It could be anywhere. So there is a presumption if they're showing signs at work. Now, there are other scenarios that Daisy and I have talked about that take it outside of that realm, where maybe someone they've been around, they've been exposed to outside of work. You know, that's a clear cut, that's not related to work. Does that answer your question, Anetta?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit on my legs because I'm really short. So I'm just gonna sit up a little bit for you guys. Now you can see me better. And so does that answer what you wanted as far as, you know, being able to delineate? But there is the presumption if they're exposed at work or they show signs, report to you, hey, I'm not feeling well, and they haven't been exposed or know of anyone outside of work that's positive, that we would handle it as a workers' comp claim, coded as a code 12. Whoever your broker is or whoever you're working with, they're going to know hopefully how to handle this. But feel free at any time to contact me with any questions before you run it through the process, so we can do that interactive process. And
Yeah.
remember the 6-15-48 rule, everybody. That's really important. Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, actually, that's really good because I wanted to ask, like, that's kind of like when we know that the person is already affected, right? Or
Correct.
that the person, became positive. But how about that middle point where, it's just they're still testing, there's like a 2-week or a week and a half gap where we're sending the guy home and he's waiting for results. And does that, and then the guy becomes like, he's negative, for instance, so the company would cover that time frame,
So from
or
the
would it
time,
go to workers' comp?
so from the time frame, if they're presumed exposed at work, then from the date that you send them home to self-quarantine to go get medical treatment, to get their testing, your 2-week, 40 hours per week leave that's been mandated by the laws would go into effect as of the date they clocked out.
Okay.
So their last day that they worked moving forward would start that 14-day period. And then if it were to extend past that, say someone got it and they were unfortunately hospitalized and it went past that, then there is extended, FFCRA leave that would apply. And we would take it literally, you just take it step by step as it goes along. Because I wish I had one huge magic answer, like this is it, but it's case by case.
Hey, Kris.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Hi, Mark.
you mentioned, and I think it's a really great rule. You said it like a minute ago about the 16, 15, 48. Can you kind of
Yeah,
elaborate
6,
that
15.
with for our viewers here?
Yes, 6/15/48 is truly, first of all, can I just say, when you hear the word, I've been exposed, I'm having symptoms, don't panic, stay calm. Number one rule in any situation, of course. But the 6/15/48 rule really puts you in a position of knowledge and power to make a great educated
For our
move.
viewers here.
So here's the rule.
48
If
is
you
really,
are
first of all,
wearing your proper PPE, of course, as we all are, and hopefully, and if they're not, this is where the 6/15 really comes in. So if you're not within less than 6 feet of that person for more than 15 minutes within 48 hours of a positive COVID test result.
Okay.
Great.
Does that,
And then,
That's
yeah.
excellent.
go ahead, Daisy?
Yeah, so then going off of that, so I guess like the biggest question that I feel everybody has is what do we do if someone does test positive or has the symptoms of COVID-19, has been in the same area that someone has been exposed to COVID? Do we need to
Okay.
shut down the jobs, that job or the whole office? Yeah, basically.
Again, you're going to go back to your position of power and knowledge of 6/15/48. And this really goes back to truly effective contact tracing, and knowing where your people are every day, pretty much as close to at all times as you possibly can. So it's, you really don't want people hopping from one job site to the other job site unless you're truly tracking that diligently, because the key to managing any of those scenarios that you gave me is the power of contract tracing and knowing who was that person around, what building were they at, what, who were they exposed to? Were they talking to a property manager? Were they talking to the maintenance director? How long were they together? What date was it? That's very important. I literally had one come down to, and Daisy and I talked about this earlier, 4 hours made the difference of whether we had to alert the media or whether we could contain it, quarantine them for 14 days, get them tested, and do the appropriate thing and mitigate the risk. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So it's really that contact tracing is crucial in what kind of system you're using, your rosters, your dispatch, however you're managing that process within your organization and with your customers, and making sure you're doing absolutely number one, your pre-screening. And that's a diligent, I have some people, oh, we're doing it most days. No, every day, sometimes twice a day. I had one come up and say, that he was positive, but he passed the pre-screen twice. So it was kind of, he was more looking for the 2-week vacation. Yes,
That,
Brandon.
that does raises some questions because what I've heard is that people present symptoms. Uh, it could be 7 days after, right? After
Correct.
7 days. So a guy, let's say a scenario, one of our employees is working for a full week, and then Friday he begins to show some symptoms. He tells us, and then we send them home. But he's been already exposed to the workers for the past 5 days without him knowing, and then we use the rule of 48 hours. So the other the other people that work between Monday and Wednesday, they wouldn't be considered affected, even though they didn't present symptoms like for 7 days.
Now, here's the thing. With COVID-19, actions being taken depend very much on the burden of proof that they have a positive result. Like some of you may be seeing Kaiser is texting results. Different facilities use different methods of communication. We're getting the results back quicker. So until you have an absolute positive result in your hand, because anybody could call and say, oh, I got exposed to COVID-19 and I'm not feeling well. Well, we have to also consider we're coming upon some very hot weather. So there's going to be some overlap between heat illness, because what does heat illness give you? Flu-like symptoms, right? Which could easily be maybe construed with COVID-19, because with heat illness, you also can get a fever. So it's very important that you have a medical physician, hospital, emergency room, some form of medical documentation that says that Joe Smith, Jose Martinez, Daniel Lima, whomever it is, has, tested negative or positive. You want that proof. And when it comes back to them returning, please make sure that you get a negative test result and release from the doctor before letting them back into your organizations and back onto your customers' websites, or onto their job sites, rather.
A text would suffice as a proof for someone that went to get
so long as that text comes from the medical provider. That's the key, because anybody could text, oh, I tested positive for COVID-19. That would be so easy to do, right? So it has to be from a legitimately licensed medical provider. I've dealt from everything from La Clínica La Raza to Kaiser to St. Rose Hospital to San Leandro Hospital to UCSF, all over the Bay Area and beyond, because I'm from Oregon down to Southern California that I deal with, and in other states as well. So it really is the burden of proof that you have that positive test result. And if they're lagging on that, you need to continue the line of communication, asking for it again, ask for it again, ask for it again, because you need that. So, if you need to notify any other parties, customers, employees, property managers, maintenance directors, people that you're interacting with, if they were anywhere outside of that 6/15/48 parameter. So literally, like I said, it can come down to hours and sometimes even less than an hour, where you're like, okay, we made it within that 6/15/48. But if you're that close, I still recommend quarantine, let them get tested. If they come back negative, they're going to be monitored. But I suggest truly, with what we don't know yet, to err on the side of caution once you get that medical documentation and proof that you quarantine for the 14 days.
Mm-hmm. And this is just like anything else. That's a paper trail is going to be the best bet, right?
Absolutely. So, or an electronic platform. Yes.
Right.
And yes, a safety management system, learning management systems, all those things, automated, COVID pre-checks where you can easily look up and know exactly where that person checked in, who they're working around, and be able to empower yourself to make the right decisions. And I want everyone to know, feel free anytime. I am available 24 hours, 7 days a week, because there's going to be that out of the box case, just like you are, Brian. Call it 3 a.m. We're on our way. I deal with that. I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm very proud of it, and feel free to reach out, because it really is a case-by-case basis.
Kris, another question also is, how often...
I'm watching my time, Daisy, I promise.
How often do we need to test our team members?
How often?
Yeah, so let's say like if they do test positive and like after they get the negative test, like if someone... Do we need to keep testing people in the job sites, like saying like every month or something like that? Because I know I've heard of other, not construction itself, but other companies saying that they've been testing their employees a little bit, like once a month, just to make sure that there's no exposure.
That's really a personal preference that's set by your company. For somebody who's maybe doing the remediation and the job that Restoration RMC is doing, where you're going in and cleaning up the situations and making sure that everything's disinfected and whatnot. may take a little bit more of an aggressive approach. It depends on your exposure as to what you decide. There's no set rule on that. It's up to your discretion. However, anybody that, and we're dealing with now, you've been hearing the word asymptomatic a lot lately. So I'll give you a scenario that I dealt with first thing Monday. Wife tested positive, completely asymptomatic, no signs. Husband tested negative. So technically, you could have him go back to work. However, he's going home every day to someone who's tested positive. As an employer and as someone who's responsible for the safety, not only for our own workforces, but our customers and where we're at, erring on the side of caution and doing the 14-day quarantine and having them test in the beginning and before they return with a doctor's note saying they're clear to return before you put them back on your roster. Does that answer the question or make you feel a little bit better?
Yeah, that answers.
Yeah, and you can make your own protocols, but as far as testing, definitely beginning and before they return at a minimum. How about that?
Okay. Daniel?
Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, this is interesting because I'm just setting a scenario. It hasn't happened. I haven't had anyone with this scenario, but
Knocking on wood.
could a manager from a property request that the people that are gonna work there are tested? Like, can your clients kind of make you and say, hey, I want proof that everyone got tested before they work here in my property or in my home? Is that something
Yes. Yes, we are seeing that.
Mm.
But if you're providing your pre-screenings and showing that everybody has positive, answered no to all the questions on the pre-screen, then most of them are, I think, fairly comfortable with that portion of it. But if they require it, that's a decision that you can make as an employer or as a customer of what you would like to see within your organization and working together. If they're going to be, and a lot of it depends also, are you working exterior or are you working interior? Because exterior, we have a little bit less exposure rate than we do on when we're working interior.
Yeah.
And if you're a GC, really getting information from the other subs and making sure they're doing their pre-screenings and following their protocols, extremely important.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be like, I don't know, sharing information that, like, is it, I guess my question is it really legal that they can request that type of information, which is kind of personal? Like, it's kind of not even us can really ask like an employee, if you're sick, unless they, right? I mean, it's kind of like a personal.
It is, and HIPAA is a big word that I'm sure everybody's hearing. That we have to be very careful of that, and I do want to speak to the confidentiality of this process. It's extremely crucial that even if you have an exposure like Daisy you were talking about, say it's in your office and not out in the field, that if you have someone who's tested positive, they provided you the documentation, and you have to notify other people within the organization that were exposed to this person, you don't tell them who they were exposed to. Now they're going to figure it out because maybe that person's gone or maybe that person texts them and tells them, but it is to never come from our lips who that person was. That's a violation of their privacy and their HIPAA rights. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, that's exactly what the word I was trying to.
Yes. So, you can kind of do a thing where you say, okay, here's, you could do like, sometimes we send documents where we black out certain things, maybe because of HIPAA or, proprietary information. You could send an all clear. Everyone's been tested, all clear as of this date. We're doing our daily pre-screenings. And if before you walk on to their job site or their HOA, that you let whomever your direct contact is, as they're on their way, everyone was pre-screened, pre-checked, and everybody's clear to be on at your facility.
That's good.
And I think that they'll be happy with that. Yes, Daniel.
I have one more question that just popped out in my mind.
I love it. I love the questions.
Insurance wise,
Yes,
I was thinking, like, could a homeowner from a property, let's say we're working at Aneta's property, and someone, one of our employees has to leave because he's positive, right? And then one of the homeowners,
or he's feeling the symptoms, or he got a result back.
or he's feeling the symptoms, right? I'm setting a scenario, and then one of the homeowners gets positive too. Can that person sue the company because they think that they got it through one of our employees?
Okay, I'm going to go back to 6/15/48. How and what, I know that Daniel and those of us that are in the construction industry, we are taking every precaution we can for PPE, and etc. So we're making sure that we're protecting those we're working for and around. So again, you would, that 6/15/48 rule, and understand in the state of California, anybody can allege and sue you for anything. It's the burden of proof that's upon them. So don't be afraid of that, but we're going to show the utmost respect for that homeowner, do our due diligence, show them our contact tracing, and say, look, he was not, you were not exposed. I'm sure that when we have someone, are you doing the majority, Daniel, can I ask if you're talking about, like, say we're inside someone's residence and we're doing some painting for them and they happen to be home? Is that what you're concerned with, or us just being in the general area?
Yeah, I was thinking general area, maybe a lobby or a hallway from, like, one of the properties, or inside a house too. It could
inside a home, correct. So if we're wearing our masks, we're wearing our gloves, we're practicing proper distancing. And so when someone is at, say, it's Aneta's property, and you see a homeowner, and you let your crews know, if you see someone coming, stepping aside to making sure that you're social distancing, so they safely walk by, tip your hat, give them a hi, smile. I have to tell you, my new thing is spread the smiles, because smiles are gifts. Daisy, you guys all have great smiles. You're all smiling today. I'm so happy considering our bumpy start, and I appreciate it. But a smile is a powerful gift. And if you smile, or you let them know, like give them a heads up or a thank you, or just a wave, and they notice you take a step back to let them pass, they're probably not going to come at you. But no, in the state of California, people can allege anything they want, and we have to go through the interactive process. And that's where you're going to call upon your experts, your people that you rely on to help you get that proof that you need to say, we did not expose you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're coming up on time right now, so we have about a minute left.
Okay.
So we don't have any live questions at the moment, but if anybody has questions or want us to send you the documents that Kris was mentioning in this presentation, you can go ahead and text the number that's on the screen right now, and we can go ahead and send that over to you. Thank you for joining us today at this live webinar that we bi-weekly. We hope to see you on our next one. We are going to be discussing recruiting on our next video.
I'm looking forward to my next invitation. I want to thank you for the honor and privilege to be here during such a interesting time. We're going to get through this. We're all in this together. I want everybody to know that, and the support's there for you. And I will keep updates that I'll filter through to the group, since I have everybody's information. As updates come, I'll share those with you so you can stay up to the moment. And I sent quite a few documents to Daniel that you can access, and I'm really following CDC guidelines more than government guidelines because those are the people dealing with the real stuff. So
We appreciate that. Thank you.
exactly, because you're
Yeah.
getting stuff like don't listen to the stuff on the news because that'll just get you just more confused. So if anybody has any questions, I am available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help people stay healthy and in business and making sure their tenants and their customers and their employees and we all stay with smiles on our face and during this time
Thank
as
you.
much as we can.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Blessings to you all.
Bye, everyone.
It's been an honor. Have a great day.